This St. Patrick's Day, rather than just partying and getting plastered, it's worth remembering the legacy of St. Patrick and why he's been remembered for all these centuries by the Irish. This is Ben Scallon and you're watching Gript Media. Now here's a €1,000,000 question for you. What is St. Patrick's Day fundamentally about? Is it about A. migrants, B. climate change, C. COVID-19, or D. a Christian missionary and saint famous for bringing the gospel to Ireland? Now, even if you're a non-Christian, you probably know the answer to that question, unless of course you're an Irish politician, in which case you're likely going to need to phone a friend. Take our president on Uachtaráin, Michael D. Higgins, as a prime example.
St. Patrick's Day, then, must always be a special day for recalling our migrant history, Irish migrants, of migrant communities everywhere. A migrant, compassionate migrant, as our planet wounded and a planet in danger, and the very capacity of the planet to renew itself. In the message we have received from COVID, in our exit from COVID-19, out of COVID, that is the pandemic of COVID-19.
Note, by the way, that God, Christ, Christianity, faith, religion, none of these words are mentioned even once in that speech. Not a single time did the actual purpose of St. Patrick's mission to Ireland come up during the presidential address. Now, I already know what people are going to reply. Ben, you say, there are people of all faiths and none in Ireland. We should be a secular country. Separation of church and state is important, and I don't believe in God. Yes, I get all of that, okay? My point is not that you have to believe in God, obviously. You can believe whatever you like. My point is, it's interesting how St. Patrick's Day, emphasis on saint, is and has always been a Christian feast day to celebrate a Christian missionary who brought Christianity to Ireland. And yet our leaders are allergic to even mentioning that and instead want to turn holidays like this into an event about immigration, or feminism, or environmentalism, or some other such unrelated woke hobby horse. Even if you believe in those causes, I'm sure that most people can concede that they don't have anything at all to do with the day in question. They're just shoehorned in there for purely political reasons. Under no circumstances will many Irish politicians acknowledge any positive contribution that Christianity may have made to Irish culture. In fact, the only time they'll even mention the Christian faith that St. Patrick lived his life by is to attack it.
So many schools and hospitals in this country are still under religious patronage. Let's get them out. And if it takes a referendum to do it, let's fight that referendum and let's win that referendum.
The roots of sexism and misogyny run deep. The Ireland of religious dogma.
Would you be religious?
In terms of religion, as we understand it, religious institutions, no, they've run their day. They've had their chance.
We have a shameful history when it comes to sex education or lack of sex education, and this being a tool for control and power by the Catholic Church.
St. Patrick's Feast Day has been celebrated as a national holiday in Ireland since around the 800s, over a millennium ago. And this should make us stop and wonder, what was it about this man, St. Patrick, that made the Irish people want to celebrate his life over 1,500 years later? What made him worth remembering? Was it because he was a foreigner who came to Ireland from abroad? Well, lots of people came here from overseas. The Vikings came from abroad. Cromwell came from abroad. But we don't really celebrate their arrival here, so that can't be it. Was it because of Patrick's woke liberal values and academic papers about non-binary bathroom rights? Well, no, he didn't write any of those. The texts that he did write were religious and will probably be denounced by our leaders as far right or something if they were written today. So why is it that Patrick has held such esteem with the Irish people for over a millennium and a half? Well, the answer is not complicated. Within his lifetime, Patrick was by far the most successful missionary to this country, and he set the wheels in motion which would eventually convert the entire island and all of its people to Christianity within about 100 years or so. And the Irish people throughout the centuries saw the enormous value that Christianity had given to them culturally. And they thought, thank God this man came and taught us this wonderful way of living. Let's honor his memory every year to show our appreciation. Without St. Patrick, we wouldn't have the Book of Kells, for example. People often forget this, but the Book of Kells is not a crime novella. It's not a medieval phone book. It is a copy of the 4 Christian Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. and now it's come to be known as a symbol of the Irish nation as a whole. We already did a video going over the zillions of ways Irish culture is intrinsically linked to Christianity, which you can check out here. Without St. Patrick, we wouldn't have the Christian monks' dwellings in places like Skellig Michael or Glendalough. We wouldn't have the Ardagh Chalice or the Lismore Crozier. Every village and almost every street in Ireland has a church on it. You can hardly walk down the road in this country without bumping into a Celtic high cross or a round tower or a shrine to the Virgin Mary. Irish culture is absolutely saturated in Christianity and has been for well over 1,000 years. Padraig Pearse was a passionate and devout Christian. Thomas MacDonagh was a Christian. When young Kevin Barry was killed, he had rosary beads in his pocket and there were throngs of Republican women praying the rosary outside of his cell. James Connolly, Jim Larkin, the big fella Michael Collins, Eamon De Valera, Brian Boru, Hugh O'Neill, Red Hugh O'Donnell, Wolfe Tone, Daniel O'Connell the Liberator, etc, etc, etc. Basically name any person who was remotely important and celebrated in Irish history, including the founder of every traditional political party in the state, and you can be almost guaranteed that that person was a passionately devout Christian who spoke boldly and proudly about how important their faith was to their life. Even the socialist ones, mind you. This wasn't an incidental thing like they happened to like football. It was a deep motivator for them and a major part of their life. And yet on St. Patrick's Day, our politicians want to talk about open borders immigration and climate change and non-binary bathroom rights, anything and everything except the worldview that set all of this in motion. We want to pay lip service to these people while throwing out everything that they believed in and stood for. Let's just face it, lads. Irish culture is Christian culture. We would not be who we are if not for Christianity. So let's acknowledge and appreciate the contribution that St. Patrick made to this island and show a little respect to the beliefs of those who went before us. Let's not write the core of our culture out of our history or ignore where we came from as a people. This St. Patrick's Day, let's maybe spare a thought for Ireland's patron saint and the meaning of his life's mission. Let's reflect on what he did for us and why our ancestors loved him so much. And above all else, drink responsibly. Please like and share this video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider signing up for a monthly donation via the link on screen to help us produce more content like this. Alternative media like Gript needs all the assistance it can get, and every donation goes a long way. As always, thanks for watching.